Hey YouTube, Windraiser here, today coming to you with another Transformers review. Today I'm finally going to look at Transformers Kingdom Wingfinger. Give me a second, I need to drink some of my TNT coffee. Throat got a little dry. Yes, I finally have the, the third deluxe fossilizer, Wingfinger. And yes, I have him walking on all fours. Now, there's been a lot of speculation of what he transforms into. Well, judging by his head crest, it's a lot smaller. His skull is bigger. And if we can get him into his flying thing. Yep. He is a genus of pterosaur. Angle up here for a bit. With a longer wingspan and smaller legs and body torso and yet bigger head, he is a member of Quetzalcoatlus. So he's a pterosaur, but he's not a pteranodon nor a pterodactyl. He's a giant pterosaur. Okay, that's out of the way. But yeah, as you can see, he can do his walking pose, his four-leg walking, and his flying mode. Now, mine was second-hand bought because here you can see his head's a little loose at this pin right here, and the little neck swivel right there. So he's very loose, but he's well proportioned and nicely stiff in other places, and I do like him. The only animal I have to compare him with right now is my Tigertron, which I finally got. So I don't know how to do this. So Tiger and pterosaur kind of thing. Yeah, I'll just do that. I don't know how to do a size-by-size comparison with a four-legged bipedal quadruped and a quadrupedal flying extinct reptile. So they're an avian reptile. But yeah. And he is a fossilizer, so just like the fossilizers, the modulators, and the weaponizers, he comes apart to transform. So we're going to do that. Going to take off his head. Take off that part. Take off this. Take off that. Take off this. Take off that. Take off this. This. And rip him apart. So you're effectively left with all of that. But I do want to get a close-up of just a few bone pieces, namely his skull, which is very nice. And it does open and close. So you got that, which you can get to about that far, and then when it closes, nice loud click. And the rib cage is done very nicely. Like even the pelvis part. Well, the bones are painted very nicely, but he's like a bleach painted. So to transform him, step 1, rip him into pieces. Step 2, take this part. As you can see, this is the robot head is like wedged in his butt, so he has effective butt head syndrome. And then we'll take this piece and we'll combine these two together like so. So that gives him his very high torso swivel. Go ahead and unhook the rib cage, which is pegged into this little notch right there, and that slot. Rotate that down, unpeg, and rotate that down. Okay. Now we've got the torso put together. Go ahead and take his arms. And this is how they tell you to do it in the instructions. Mine didn't come with instructions, but I looked them up, and it tells you to rip them apart first. All right. So next we'll take these pieces. And you want it to where this part is facing outward, if I'm correct. Yes. And fold that down. Peg it in. Fold it down. Peg it his legs, which are effectively the robot's hand, dinosaur's skeletal's arms. And last but not least, take this piece of the head, fold it down until it clicks into place, and we'll peg it right here on his back. There's a hole right here on his back, and you just peg that into. And stand him up. And sorry for this, because he's very tall. Sorry, my stand is a little wobbly now. And then last but not least, open the head. And then we have, and he falls over. And then we have him in his robot mode. Now, he's very spindly. As you remember, the other characters are very bulky, and I don't have them in their robot modes. They're in their skeletal forms. But he's very, very spindly. He does have a face. You can barely see it. It is right there. So he does have eyes, a mouth, but it's like hindered by that covering of his head. One second, I'm just trying to fix my phone. There we go. And so yeah, he really can't see much. Like, you can see it. His head's there, you just can't see it. But possibility, head is on a ball joint. There's a hinge for in and out and forward and back. There's a hinge for forward and back at the elbow and swivel. Wrists swivel and can go in. As we mentioned before. Put this up. He does have his waist rotation. Legs can go forward that far. So he can really high kick. Back, yeah. Can do backward splits. He does have a knee bend. Over 90 degrees. I mean, he can bend his leg backwards if he wants to. Feet, nothing in the feet really, except for the toes can move forward and backwards. Now, he does have other accessories aside from the skull that's on his head. He does have the tips of the wings, and he can do one of two things. One, there are these little pegs here on the back of his the ribcage arms. So peg right here, and you can take these little slots on either side and peg them onto the back of them for storage, or you can give them to him as his weapons, like so, side or down, whichever you prefer. Or he can wield them in both arms, or both arms, both hands. If I can get it in there, you can do it. There we go. So he can have like a bow, and then we can take this, move that forward, and then peg this onto his arm, and now he's got a shield. So he's got like a double-bladed bow, or a blade bow, and a skull shield. So you can have him do whatever you want. Now, he is a fossilizer. Just like the modulators, he does become weapons for the other characters. I'm not going to get into that because I have to pull up the instructions and figure out the weapon the weapon combination. So, and he also does he also can combine with the other two fossilizers, along with Paleotrex and Ractonite. I'm going to do that combination in a separate video because it is flimsy as can be, and I need a video tutorial in order to watch it. So that's going to be a while. I may or may not do it. I'm not sure. But they do combine into a giant robot, and to show that off, this part of the head, as you can see, the seam line does come off. And this is the combined mode head. Now, you can do it if you want. If you want to know the combination, I will link the description, another tutorial for that from MGo's video into the bottom of this description at the very bottom. So the link to that will be in here. And yeah, there's my review for Transformers Kingdom Wingfinger. Sorry it took so long, but I hope you all enjoyed. And I'm Windraiser. I'll see y'all on the next review.